All right, everybody. So we're going to get started today in our broadcast. And man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of Yahweh, who is our Elohim. Today, we want to talk about a leap of faith. What does it mean to leap of faith? And I want to talk about this because in Christendom we have this thing where we just we look at what it means to walk by faith. You know, the just shall live by faith, and all that I've ever seen in a faith walk within Christendom has been primarily based on our levels of emotions and our desire to believe in this, in that, or the other. All right. I want you to catch what faith is. Now, in Romans chapter 10, verse number 17, would you all go there with me? Would you go to Romans 10, 17? Can I get a reader today? Can I get a volunteer to read Romans chapter 10 for me today on the preceding word? I know we don't usually do that, but I'd like to have that done for the sake of what must be accomplished. If you're at work and you can't do it, I know you're just listening because you're sitting at your desk and you can still fake it, right? With your boss say, I ain't doing nothing. I'm working, but I'm listening. I'm multitasking. It's good. I'm glad you're here. But if I can get a volunteer to read Romans chapter 10, verse number 17, I'd be probably so very happy if you did. Could someone help me with that?
Wanda.
Thank you, Sister Wanda. I appreciate you. Would you grab Romans chapter 10, verse and number 17 for me, please?
Yes, sir. Romans 10, 17. So then faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the word of Elohim. But I say, have they not heard? Yes, verily, their sound went into all the earth, and their words unto the ends of the world.
Thank you. And so one of the things we need to understand is that without faith, it's impossible to please Elohim. So faith comes by hearing, and hearing comes, if I heard you right, Minister Wanda, hearing comes by the word of Elohim. Was that correct?
Yes, sir.
So faith comes by hearing, and hearing comes by the word of Elohim. I want to talk to a few people today about this because we've been doing something in Christendom for a long time. We've been taking a leap of faith. We've been leaping on faith. We've been jumping out on what we think God wants, right? So we've been taking a leap of faith. And what does it mean to really take a leap of faith? I'm just curious. And I want to make sure that we understand that taking a leap of faith is far greater than much of what we've done. So I was talking about a guy in the book of Matthew, chapter 14, who's very, very, very intriguing to me. And his name is Peter. He's an apostle of Yeshua HaMashiach. And when we look at what he's done and what he says, it became really interesting to me to know that he had some thoughts, he had some ideas, and he had some movements that were very key. Now, this one here, I want to talk to a lot of our pastors. I want to talk to a lot of our leaders. I want to talk to all of you who are in the business of propagating the gospel and propagating the power and the signs and wonders of Elohim. And I want us to really put this into perspective before we keep propagating something that may not be the appropriate narrative. Though it's been a joyful thing to teach and preach over all these decades and years that you've been alive. So let's look at what this really means to take a leap of faith. Is taking a leap of faith grabbing an idea out of the cosmos and then just running with it? So I took a leap of faith when I started my business. I took a leap of faith when I started the ministry. I took a leap of faith when I got married. I took a leap of faith when I sowed a seed into the man of God, the woman of God, the prophet, prophetess of God, the evangelist, the missionary that came through. I took a leap of faith. I didn't have it, but I wanted to act like the widow with the two mites. And I just wanted to give what I had because that was a leap of faith. I just by faith, I just did it. It was the leap of faith. I took it. I took a leap of faith. I took a leap of faith, and I just decided I was gonna walk on the water with this one. I want to really help you understand what that looks like. If you're coming into Facebook, please make sure you hit that heart sign, hit that like sign. Let's get these algorithms going. I'd like the preceding word to go around the world, and I need your help to do that. But you have to help me by actually hitting the heart sign and the like sign when you come in, and then making a comment, getting the algorithm to a place where Facebook will render and offer this page to many others who are your friends and my friends to listen and to view. Could you help me do that? All right. So the preceding word today, we're talking about a leap of faith. What is it? What is a leap of faith? All right. So I found out that the Romans 10:17 says that not without faith, but it says in Hebrews 10, Romans 10:17, it says that faith comes by hearing, and hearing comes by the word of Elohim. Okay, so it doesn't say a dream. Faith doesn't come by a dream. No, faith doesn't come by a prophecy of a prophet. Faith does not come by osmosis. So faith comes by hearing. Okay, I gotta hear God. That makes sense. I gotta hear God. I wanna hear God. Hear God. I heard the Spirit of God. I heard the voice of God speaking. Faith comes by hearing, but very specifically, hearing the words of Elohim. I just want to make that clear. Now, here's another thing we talk about that needs to be very clear, is that when we take this leap of faith, we have to understand that you leap on faith means you leap on what his word says, not on what your prayer hoped for. Help me, Ruach, start this program right. See, because many of us think a leap of faith is us actually jumping out on a prayer we had and we fasted over, and then we said, I'm going to do it because I think this is what God wants. I think this is what God wants me to do. I think this is what Elohim wants me to do. I took a leap of faith. We're going to talk about that, y'all, and I'm going to give you space, but I want to give you the writ to understand how the dialogue should go. So in Romans 10:17, faith comes by hearing, and hearing comes by the word. Do I have anybody on Clubhouse that can flash the mic to let me know that that's the truth of the word? And if you get a good confirmation, it's okay to flash your mics. Y'all don't flash mics in this page. I don't know why. Other pages be flashing mics and stuff. There we go. Okay, so we got the flashing of the mics going on in the house of the Most High Gizard. All right, listen now. Watch. Faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word. Now, can I get somebody to go to Hebrews chapter 11? Can I get a volunteer to read, to go to Hebrews chapter 11? I need it quickly. Anybody? Can anybody help me? Hebrews chapter 11, verse number 6. Come on. I want to set precedent. Anybody? Who is there? I don't know who I am. When you come off a mic, say your name so I know who you are. And I want y'all to carry that out as it should be. Whenever you are on platform with me, please make sure you come off a mic. Say your name. You help me help you get your point out. Say your name and then tell me what you got. So I am has Hebrews chapter 11. I am there has Hebrews. So is that I am there? I am there. Are you there? I am there.
Wanda is there.
Oh, hey, Wanda. Wanda is going to help me. Because she changes her name a lot. Sometimes she is I am blowing, I am a hair dryer thrower. Sometimes she is a curling iron thrower. Sometimes she's today she's I am Wanda. All right, so Wanda, would you help me by going to Hebrews chapter 11 and verse number 6. Can we do that? Can we sort of kind of work that out? And everybody, I want you to remember, because we're going to quote this before she reads this, what Romans 10:17 says. If y'all believe that Romans 10:17 is the word of Elohim, then we must understand Paul, who wrote Romans, and Paul, who wrote Hebrews, is talking about the same thing. Watch this closely. So he makes the statement. He makes this statement. He makes this. Did y'all invite anybody to the room? Did y'all share this today? Because I promise you, you are going to bless people who know you, who like you and don't like you. But y'all need to share this room today at Clubhouse. I'm only going to be an hour, so you want to share this right now. If you're on Clubhouse, I don't know why they don't share my Clubhouse page, but Facebook do share stuff. But Clubhouse, I need as many of y'all as can right now to take the moment and share this room. There's a little pin at the bottom, and I don't want to beg y'all to do it. You don't have to do it if you don't want to. Please, we never do that. We don't. But this right here is going to bless so many people. You need to share it. If you've never been used of Elohim, today is a potential time you could be used of Elohim. So I need you leaders, I need you pastors to share this so your congregations can come in and get this. They belong to you. We don't want to keep them. We just want to make sure that they learn and you can better educate them and teach them, and y'all can have a greater faith in your arena than any other space in your community. All right. So I want as many people as will to go ahead and share this particular on Clubhouse and share this on Facebook. Y'all hit the share button yet? Oh, okay. All right. Thank you, Minister Phillips. She said I shared it. All right. I want as many people to share this as you can. Come on, Clubhouse, share the page. I've never asked y'all for that ever. So trust me, this must be deep. So Romans chapter 10, verse 17, as we await Minister Wanda over in Hebrews chapter 11, verse 6, I want y'all to understand Romans chapter 10, verse 17 says, faith comes by hearing, and hearing comes by the word of Elohim. Hearing comes by the word. So I just can't hear the audible voice of God. And then God said, go and start a beauty salon. And so I took a leap of faith and started a beauty salon. I want to help y'all with this. Okay. It's not that it won't lead you to that end, but you must understand what a real leap of faith looks like. And then we're going to talk about it practically. So Hebrews chapter 11, verse 6. In a second, I'm going to reread and restate to you Romans chapter number 10, verse 17. So I'm giving y'all these passages because I want y'all to go and get them. And when your pastor tells you you're crazy, you can give him. When your evangelist tells you you're crazy, you can give it to them. Your favorite prophet, your favorite apostle, your favorite teacher can say, look, that's not what it means. You can give them these passages and tell them Apostle Jones sent you, and please come back and talk to me so we can study it more, so we can stop looking like a laughing stock in the faith worlds. What is a leap of faith? Faith comes by hearing. Hearing comes by the word of Elohim. All right, Hebrews 11:6. Would you read that for me while I sip my tea? Hebrews 11:6. Go.
But without faith,
wait a minute.
It is impossible.
But without faith, it is impossible to please Elohim.
Yes, sir.
So if I go back up to verse number 3, it says that for by faith, the elders obtained a good report. Through faith. Can somebody tell me what faith is? Faith comes by what?
Hearing.
And hearing comes by what?
The word of Elohim.
So faith comes by hearing, and hearing comes by the word of Elohim. So in verse number 3 of Hebrews 11, it says, through faith, the word of Elohim, we understand that the worlds were framed, and by the word of Elohim, so that things which were not seen are seen. I'm really going to take my time with this. I hope y'all get this, because this is going to be of intrigue to many of you. So by faith, I need y'all to catch this. By faith, the elders obtained a good report. So by faith, they obtained a good report. What's that mean? It was by the word of Elohim that they obtained a good report. It was by the word they obtained a good report. It's by the word they obtained a good report. It's by the word they obtained a good report. It's by the word they obtained a good report. They didn't just get a good report because they did good in the world. No. It's not by that. No, that's not it at all. By faith, they obtained a good report. Watch this, verse 3. through faith. Y'all tell me what faith is again. What's faith? Can anybody tell me what faith is again? What's faith?
Hearing.
Hearing. Faith comes by what?
Hearing.
Hearing what?
The word of Elohim.
So faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of Elohim. We need to understand what Yahweh is trying to get us to see. And so with this, StreamYard, take over, please. What I need y'all to realize is that I'm having a technical glitch here. I need to fix it, but I'm gonna keep talking, but give me a different image on mic, please. And so, matter of fact, I'll take care of it. No problem. Done already. Yahweh be praised. Okay. So what I need you to understand is that faith comes by hearing. Hearing comes by the word of Elohim. Can someone read for me Hebrews chapter number 11, verse 3? Wanda, won't you read that for me, please?
Yes, sir. Through faith, the word of Elohim, we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of Elohim.
So through faith, we hear that the worlds were framed. Through faith, through the word of Elohim, we're able to know that the worlds were framed by Elohim. Okay, read on.
Through faith, we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of Elohim, so that things which are seen were not made of things which do appear.
Okay, great read. Verse 4 says, and as we must understand this, verse 4 goes on to say, by faith, by the word of Elohim, Abel offered a more excellent sacrifice, right? I think that's what verse 4 says. Verse 5 says, by faith, the word of Elohim, Enoch was translated, that he should not even see death. His testimony was that before his translation, he had this testimony that he pleased Elohim. Wait a minute. He pleased Elohim. But mind you, verse 6, but without faith. So if we said this rightly, knowing what Romans 10:17 says, what is faith? What do we need? What can't we be without if we're going to please Elohim? Talk to me, people of the Most High.
The word of Elohim.
So it's got to be the word of Elohim, right? So faith is the word of Elohim. And the word of Elohim is found in his Torah. It is clearly his Torah. That's what faith is, his word. Now watch. Before you decide to say, who pinged me in this room? Why am I here? I'm the right Rev Prelate Magnificant, your eminence, your grace. This is tomfoolery. This is not necessary. Listen, let me show you something that shook my entire world. Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of Elohim. Proceeds out of the mouth. Somebody say the word proceeds from his mouth. Come on, say that. Put it on, type it in on Facebook, whatever you need to do. That's it. Come on, say it. You can say it out loud. The word proceeds out of his mouth. I gotta catch y'all with this. The man shall not live by bread alone. Bread is made by the word, but man shall live by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of Elohim. So when we take a leap of faith, we're dealing with his word. Do we all agree with that? Can you flash your mics if you think that that is something that's appropriate? If you're on Facebook, would you say, yes, I agree? Faith, it's his word. The word proceeds out of his mouth. The words proceed out of his mouth. Now watch this. I got to end because I'm almost done. We're already done. This is not clickbait. You are here for purpose. We are going to learn today, and you have now the opportunity to embrace this with your whole heart, mind, body, and soul. And may Yahweh bless you immensely from this day forward. Matthew chapter 14. Follow me. We just read Romans 10:17. Faith comes by hearing, hearing by the word. Hebrews chapter 11. Without faith, it is impossible. It is impossible to please Elohim. You cannot please Elohim because you received what you believe is a instruction in your wish and desire list. Something that you posted on the refrigerator, something that you posted on the cabinet, something you posted on the bathroom mirror, and then suddenly now faith is. Now faith is. No, this chapter does not mean that. This chapter is connected to Hebrews chapter 10 when it states who Messiah was, what he embodied. Messiah, Yeshua, HaMashiach. Some of you call him Jesus, the Christ, Jesus, the Christos, right? He is, watch this, the flesh suit that carried the word of Elohim in the earth. And the reason that the flesh suit called Yeshua pleased the Father was because he followed the words that proceeded from the mouth of Yahweh. Y'all can say amen right there or say, I don't believe it. It's your choice. I don't have it.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Now, watch this closely, because when we understand that we cannot please the Father with our requests through prayer, our requests through fasting for prayers we don't think have been answered, and now we get up out of prayer and say, I'm going to take a leap of faith. You can't take a leap of faith unless you know his word. Well, I got married on a leap of faith. I started my business. I took a leap of faith. I bought this car. I took a leap of faith. That is not a leap of faith. Let me show you what a leap of faith looks like. Can that lead? Can that be the end route of your leap of faith? A right leap of faith? Yes, it can. Can you end up procuring something? Absolutely, 100%. Can you actually, in your obeying of Elohim's word, end up getting the car, end up getting the house, end up getting the spouse? Absolutely. But do not say it's a leap of faith if it does not come from his word. Let me help you. Let me show you practically what leaping on faith looks like. If y'all want to know what leaping on faith looks like, say, can you tell me what leaping on faith is? You ain't got to say it on the microphone, but just ask it in your head. You know what? I heard you anyway. Let me help you with this. Let us reason together in the writ. Okay. I hope this doesn't sound arrogant. I hope this doesn't sound, condescending. I just am passionate about this, and I want the ministries of our King to know this while we're teaching this in the earthen realm. So pay close attention to these words. Matthew chapter 14, look at the storyline, and then let's see if we can extract it. I want to read it to you to see if you will see it yourself. Matthew chapter 14, everybody go there. Faith comes by hearing, hearing by the word of God. It is impossible without faith to please the Father. We all believe that, right? That's true. Matthew chapter 14, join me down around verse number 20. Let's go there. Come on. Now, I want to read the story because I want you to see the facts. Now, you know the story, right? About there being a multitude that Messiah sent away. Verse 15, I'm going to start right there, rather verse 20. I'm going to read the story. I'm not going to commentate until I get through the story, but I want y'all to tell me what you see when you get here. Watch this. And when it was even, his disciples came to him. I'm in verse 15, Matthew 14, 15. He says, when it was even, his disciples came to him saying, this is a desert place, Messiah, and the time is now past. Send the multitude away that they may go into the villages and buy themselves victuals. And Yeshua said unto them, they need not to depart. Give ye them to eat. Wow. I just got a revelation, y'all. It just hit me. I'm sorry. I can promise you I never read this verse 16 like I just saw it just now. So I just got a fresh reveal, and I've read this passage and taught this passage a million times and used this passage to teach a leap of faith. Look at what he said. Verse 16 says, but Yeshua said to them, they don't need to depart. The Living Word says, you give them to eat. And of course, like a good, student of him, and technically I like to banter and say Christian, we did what they did. They did what we do. Verse 17 says, and they said unto him, we have here but 5 loaves. I mean, come on, really? How we go? And 2 fish. How we going to do that? Verse 18 says, he said, bring them to me. Verse 19 says, and he commanded the multitude to sit down on the grass. They obeyed his word. And he took the 5 loaves and the 2 fishes, and looking up to heaven, he blessed, brake, and gave the loaves to the disciples, and the disciples gave to the multitude. Oops, they obeyed his word. See, because they didn't sit down like he said. If they not bring him the fish like he said, who's speaking? The word of Elohim. Watch this. Verse number 20 says, and they did all eat and all were filled, and they all took up fragments that remained 12 baskets full. Verse 21. And they that had eaten were about 5,000 men, beside women and children. Please, y'all, pay attention. Don't get distracted yet. Stay close. Watch this. And the straightway Yeshua constrained his disciples to get them into the ship and to go before him unto the other side. Listen to this. Watch this. He said, y'all get in the ship and y'all go to the other side. Listen what he said again. He constrained his disciples, verse 22, Matthew 14:22, to get into a ship and go to before him onto the other side while he sent the multitudes away. Now, if y'all know the story, there was another time in chapter 4 where Yahweh, or chapter 8, when Messiah told them to get into the ship, but he told them to get into the ship after they sent the multitude away. Then they got into the ship. They freaked out because a storm of wind arose, and he had to tell them off. Oh, ye of little faith. Oh, ye of little faith. Oh, ye of little faith. Watch this, y'all. Peter comes and wakes him up in Matthew 8 and says, don't you care that we perish? He's like, what are you talking about? O ye of little faith. O ye who do not believe my words. I spoke something. I told you to get in the boat, let the people go, and follow me down to hear the rest. You did not obey my words. You did not leap out on faith, Peter. You followed me long enough to make it look like you were with me. You got on the boat, but you did not follow me into the room where I am resting, because that's the instruction. So you're not walking in faith, Peter. That's why he says, oh, ye of little faith. You didn't hear everything I told you to do, or you heard what you wanted to hear. Listen, I promise you it's going to bless your lives. Did y'all share this page? Look here. Listen, verse number 22 says, now in a different situation involving another boat that Messiah says, I want to take y'all to another side of ministry. Get in this boat. We're going to go over. We're going to go over again, like I did and told y'all before. But this time, y'all go get in the boat. I'm going to send the multitude away. You get in the boat and head over. I'll join y'all on the other side. Look at verse 22. And straightway Yeshua constrained his disciples to get into a ship and to go before him onto the other side, while he sent the multitudes away. And when he had sent the multitudes away, he went up into a mountain apart to pray. And when the evening was come, he was there by himself. Verse 24, listen. He was there by himself, but the ship was now in the midst of the sea. Here is where I want you to put your eyes, people. I hope y'all share this page. Listen, he says, the ship, verse 24, Matthew 14:24, the ship was now in the midst of the sea. Who was on the ship, y'all? Can y'all tell me? Somebody tell me who was on the ship. If y'all reading the story with me, who was on the ship?
Roundtree.
Go.
Disciple.
The disciples, right? Now, who can help me? The last time he told them to get on the ship, who did he tell to send the people home?
Roundtree.
Go.
He said to the disciples the last time.
So the very first time he told the disciples to send the people home, right?
Yes, sir. So
this time he's telling the disciples to do what? He see, the last time he sent the disciples home, he told the disciples to go back and send the people home, and then he got on the ship and they came and followed him on the ship. Right? This time he says, y'all get on the ship, I'll send the people home. Listen, people, this is a serious nuance. Overlooked. Some of you are going to say, you know what, I never saw that. But listen, this time he tells them, I will send the people home, you go get on the ship. Maybe you learned from the last time what you need to do, get on the ship and start resting. Now watch this, verse number 24. The ship was now in the midst of the sea, and it was being tossed with waves. For the wind, unlike it was the time when Messiah got on, the wind was contrary. Verse 25 says, and in the fourth watch of the night, Yeshua went unto them, walking on the sea. Interesting, because that's the way that they have to translate this. He's walking on the sea. A better way of putting this is he's walking on top of the sea. Let me help y'all why. 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 Verse 26 says, and when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, it's a spirit. That's a ghost out there. And they cried out of fear. Every time these jokers get on the boat with Messiah on some water, they fearing. What's that about? He gave them a different assignment this time. They still fearing. This time, they fear what they see on the sea. Last time, they feared what they saw coming on the sea. They feared the wind. Now they fear him. Don't even realize what it is because they both time have acted on little faith. But this guy named Peter remembered getting rebuked for waking Messiah up after Messiah told them, get on the boat. It's going to the other side. Don't ask me how. Just get on the boat. Come sit down here. Rest with me. If you'd have been resting with me, you would not have seen what you saw, because what you saw wasn't coming to destroy us. It was coming to help us. It was not contrary to us. Pastors, I need y'all to stay with me and listen closely. So the second time, months later, he does it again. He feeds 5,000 and tells the disciples, look, y'all go get on the boat. I'll meet y'all on the other side. Listen, listen, listen. Look at this closely. Then he tells the staff, he tells all the people, y'all go home. Once they go home, Messiah waits till church is shut down. The disciples is already on their way, and they get on the river, they get on the waters, and the waters are still there. The wind and the waves are contrary to their goal, contrary to their goal. So are Peter and the disciples in the boat, y'all? Talk to me. Are they in the boat, y'all?
Yes, sir. They're in the boat.
I think this might irritate somebody. They're in the boat. The disciples are in the boat, right, y'all?
Yes, sir.
Y'all should know if I'm asking y'all a question, there's a reason, right? They're in the boat, right? Where's the boat at, y'all? What's the boat riding on?
On the water.
On the water. We call the water what in this particular narrative? No, they're on the water. So the water is, you put a boat on the waters, and this particular group of water is called a sea, right? So the boat is on the sea. Verse 24, y'all, let's just read it so we can make sure we're clear. Don't think apostles making stuff up. But the ship was now in the midst of the sea. The sea is waters, right, y'all?
Yes, sir.
And on the sea, the waters, there was a wind causing waves. This particular wind, not like the first wind, was contrary to getting them to the other side. The wind back the first time was conducive to getting the boat to the other side. This wind was contrary. Oh, I need some pastors to see that. Now look, because this is where we talk about this leap of faith that we've been doing so erroneously within the concepts and constructs of Christendom. So in verse number 26, he says, and when the disciples, verse 24, but the ship was now in the midst of the sea. It was tossed with wind, tossed with the waves. The wind was contrary. And the fourth watch of the night, Yeshua went unto them, walking on the sea. And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled. One, they were already freaking out because the waves, every time they would row, a wave would push them back two more spaces back. They paddle and push the boat forward, and they're struggling, man. They are struggling on the waters. I'm gonna say it again. They are struggling on the waters. I need y'all to type that in on Facebook. Somebody say they were struggling on the waters. You can put a parenthesis or put quotation marks around on. They were struggling, quote, end quote, a quote, on, end quote, the waters. They were struggling on the waters. Listen to what a leap of faith looks like. And when the disciples saw him in the fourth watch, I'm at verse 25, walking on the sea, verse 26, when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled. And they said, in their already active fear, now we see a ghost on the water. There is a spirit out there. No one. Can you imagine what Christians would have said if this was to happen today? The first thing somebody would have said was, "Ooh, that's a Leviathan spirit. Ooh, they're coming to kill us. That's why we can't get over. Yeshua sent us over, but the winds and the waves is fighting against us, and this spirit's coming to get us." Ooh, I can only but see. Oh, that's the spirit of the fourth. That's the spirit of the fourth watch of prayer. Where is Messiah? Oh, that's a spirit. Again, they saw something coming to help them as something coming to hurt them. That's the second time they did that. That's wow worthy. That's ooh worthy. That's clap microphone worthy. That's the second time in the teachable moment Messiah is giving you and I that a people that say they love him, that say they obey him, took his instructions and partially lived them out. This time they at least tried. They got in the boat and they started paddling the boat. They did intend to meet him on the other side. He did tell them, "I'll get there. Y'all go ahead of me." But what they did on the waters, this is why you got to understand, when the waters in your life start raging and the issues in your life start happening, and it seems like you are going to be tossed over out of the ship, you need to be very careful about what's coming at you in your storm and not thinking it's coming to harm you as a part of a storm, but that in fact, you don't misconstrue the blessing as something coming to destroy you. They misconstrued who he was. Peter, Kepha. Kepha remembers getting rebuked by Messiah. So when James and John and Matthew and Udis and Nathaniel, when Bartholomew, when they saw this ghost while they're trying to paddle, I can imagine them paddling to get away from the ghost, right? And they're already fighting waves that keep pushing them back. And every time they go forward, another wave pushes them back. They go forward, another wave pushes them back. They go forward, another wave pushes them back. And now they see a ghost. Oh my God. Peter, Kepha's like, "Now, I got in trouble last time." He said, "But guys, wait. Before we think that's a ghost, I think that might be Messiah. I think that might be Messiah. I think that might be Messiah." Now, their troubles are on the water. Listen. Verse 26 says, I'm in Matthew 14:26. For those of you just joining in, I want you to catch this. I need y'all to see this in your right realm. I need you to see this in the spirit realm. I need you to pay attention to this because this gets deep. Look at this. I can let y'all, hey, when y'all get done with this, go teach it across the world. Don't even give me credit for it. Just go teach it. Now, if you're respectable, you will make sure you share what you got it from. But I want y'all to share this because I need people to stop leaping in faith and dropping into a pool without water and breaking their neck talking about God did it. Matthew 14:25, the fourth watch, Messiah came walking on the water. 26, when the disciples saw him on the sea, they were troubled. They said, "Oh, it's a spirit." They cried in fear. 27 says, but straightway Yeshua spake unto them. Now you got to remember, there's waves out there. There's water flashing, splashing out there. There's wind blowing out there. It's hard to hear. Straightway Yeshua spake to them, "Be of good cheer. It is I. Be not afraid." And Kepha answered him and said, "Adonai, Mashiach, if it be you, bid me come unto you on the water. Now you're about to learn about a leap of faith. Romans 10:17 says, without faith comes by hearing, hearing comes by hearing the word of Elohim. Secondly, it is impossible to please Yahweh without faith. Faith comes by hearing, hearing by the word. Watch this, Zion. Peter heard the word of Adonai. And then he questioned in himself. He's like, I want to believe. So if it be you, Mashiach, I can't quite make you out. I do hear an audible sound coming from you. And I think you said it was you. I want to be sure. If it be you, Mashiach, bid me. Watch this. So that word bid, even in the Greek, is the word keluyo. Okay, keluyo, right? And that means hail me. Listen, to incite me by a word. Listen, to give me an order. Listen, to give me a commandment. Listen, to give me an actual charge. Did y'all hear me? Urge me on by hailing me, by inciting me by a word from you, by giving me an order from you, by giving me a commandment by you, by bidding to me and giving me a platform. He says, urge me on to where you are. Y'all gonna get this in a minute. That's what he says when he says, if it be you, Mashiach, bid me. Watch this. He said, basically, y'all don't hear me. Y'all don't hear this yet. Y'all don't hear this yet. He's basically said, bid me, give to me a word that will make me come under you on the water. So he says, bid me come. Leap of faith, Zion, is going to shock your worlds. Theologians, hold your hats. Don't get mad yet, but know when you go back into your seminary doctrines and everything that you learn, this will make more sense to you when you understand this. Watch this closely. He says, if this be you, bid me come unto thee on the waters. Watch, y'all. Does Peter jump out the boat at that point? Talk to me. Talk to me. Does Peter jump out the boat at that point when he said it?
Rogers, no.
He doesn't jump out, does he, Elder Rogers? He just gave a request.
No, sir. That was it.
Does anybody agree with her? He asked for the request. Did he get the request yet?
No.
No, he doesn't jump out. But watch this. He jumps out. Watch this. He jumps out. In verse number 29, he says, and Messiah said, listen, y'all. Peter asked him specifically for one word. Now, I'm going to read this to you a way you've never read it because of the way we have a construct of Christendom. He says, if it be you, verse 28, if it be you, Mashiach, bid me come. Urge me by the word, entice me by the word, instruct me, command me by the word. Y'all gonna get this in a minute. Come. Verse 29 says, and Messiah said, come, period. And at that moment, when Messiah gave him back that word, Peter walked out of the boat on the word come. Listen, Peter is not walking on the water. He's walking on top of the water. Let me help y'all understand this in proper narrative. Where were the other disciples at, everybody? Were they in this vessel? What's that vessel called? Talk to me, Zion.
Peacock, the boat.
Peacock, he was on, they were in the boat, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, somebody else, y'all talk to me. Y'all keep talking to me. I need more people to talk to me. I need everybody to understand this. Don't just think we're just telling us something. I want y'all to actually think about this for yourself. What was wrong with the situation with them on the boat? Were they making progress?
Spencer.
Go, Spencer.
The boat was being tossed to and fro.
So was the boat making progress on the waters? The boat wasn't progressing on the water, people. The boat is having a problem getting over on the water that it itself is seaworthy to be on. The boat is not making it. It's having contrary direction. It's not getting to its point. The boat is being rocked and pelleted back and forth. It's not going anywhere, and the boat is on the water. So if Peter and Yeshua were walking on the water, they would have the same problem the boat's having.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
So they're not walking on water. They're walking on the word. Let me help you before you think I lost my mind and get your seminary degrees and try to come after me and tell me to take away all my degrees. Listen closely. Messiah said, initially, you guys get on the boat, I will meet you on the other side. Never told him how he was going to do it. So he's walking on his own word. When Peter sees him, he says, if it be you, bid me come. He walks on the word come. Now watch this. Peter does walk on the water, but when Peter walks on the water, he starts to sink in it. The moment he took his eyes off the word, which bid him come, he began to walk on the water. How well did that go for him? You're in the matrix, whoever you are. We can't hear you. All right.
Not well.
It did not go well for him, did it? So was he walking on water, or is he walking on top of the water? Because that's what the word came on top of the water. The word was come. He walked on come. That was a leap on faith, because faith comes by hearing, hearing by the word. And when the word came to Peter, Peter walked on the word, which was over the turbulence in his life. When you speak the word of Yahweh, it will always be a word and a platform over the turbulence in your life. I want y'all to get this. And the moment you take your eyes off of the word that came to get you over the turbulence in your life, you will begin to sink in the turbulence of your life. So you're not walking on the sea, you're walking on his word. That's a leap of faith. Man shall not live, watch this, by bread alone, but by what, y'all? Every word that proceeded out of the mouth of Elohim. Was Adonai in Yeshua when he told Peter to come? So Adonai is Elohim. In the beginning was the word. The word was with Elohim, because the word was Elohim. And when the word came out of Yeshua, who was in who Elohim was in Yeshua, Adonai was in Yeshua, that word was above Peter's circumstance. Peter suddenly was making progress he could not make in a boat with people helping him against the waves and the seas. Because if he was walking on the water at the time he was walking toward Messiah, when he said come, he wouldn't have made the progress, clearly, because once Peter took his eyes off of the word and looked at the sea, then he began to walk on the sea, because your eyes cause you to touch what you're looking at. Your faith, your eyes, your faith cause you to touch what you've heard. Faith comes by hearing, hearing by the word. This is why the just don't live by sight. We live by faith. If Peter would have just stayed on what he heard, and as he was walking on what he heard, he'd have been fine. But instead, as you read this, watch the passage. I led that to y'all for a reason. Watch this, verse 27, straightway Messiah spoke. Be of good courage, it's me. Peter answered and said, if it be you, bid me come. Verse 29 says he said, come. Peter was then come down out the ship. There's your leap of faith. He walked on the water to go to Yeshua. But when he took his eyes off of the word, when he took his eyes off of the Yeshua, when he took his eyes off of what he heard, listen, when he took his eyes off of that, immediately, watch this, he saw that the wind was boisterous, meaning something got his attention. He was therefore now afraid and began to sink. Why did he begin to sink? Because now he was walking on water. His leap of faith ended when he took his eyes off of, his attention off of faith. And the waters he was walking on, he became consumed by. And immediately he cried out saying, watch this. He cried out and said, Messiah, same Messiah that brought him out there, save me. Why? Because even though he took his eyes off of faith and started to sink in the waters he was walking on top of, watch this, on top of, not on top of, he's walking on faith. So the word come was like a plank that went from Messiah's mouth to that boat, never touching the water, but keeping Peter above the water. And the moment that Peter took his eyes off of come, the word, the moment he took his eyes and his hearing and his faith, his heart rather, off of the word, he began to succumb to the elements that he was actually riding above. Now watch, the same place that gave him that plank called come was the same place he cried out to before he sunk completely in the circumstances. Immediately, Yeshua stretched forth his hand and caught him. And what did he say, family? Verse 31. I'm going to read it. When I stop, y'all pick up. And immediately Yeshua stretched forth his hand. He didn't cuss him out. He didn't fuss him out. He stretched forth his hand, seeing the boy had lost his faith. And he says, verse 31 says, immediately Yeshua stretched forth his hand and caught him and said unto him, what, y'all?
O ye of little faith.
What made you doubt what you was walking on? What made you doubt the progress you were having on these tempestuous waves? These contrary, you wasn't making that kind of stride in the boat. What made you doubt? You walking to me with ease. They struggling trying to get across a wave. What made you doubt? This is why you never doubt the word of Elohim when it's given. Here's the problem. Your leap of faith today in modern day Christendom is never going to be based on some hype or hope, or even in some cases, a prophetic word from a prophet or a prophetess. If it cannot be vetted in the word, don't you move on it. Faith without works. Not a dream without works is dead. If your dream isn't connected to faith, don't you move on it. And if you got a dream you believe is of Elohim, he will show you in his word exactly where this lines up with his method of operation. Now you go. Until you get that out of the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, stop saying you took a leap of faith. Well, I took a leap of faith and failed. Unless you did what Peter did, you failed. Usually we don't do what Peter did and fail. We fail because it wasn't faith we leaped out on. How has this impacted you? Anybody have a thought? I'm willing to give you 30, even 60 seconds to express whether you enjoy, have been enlightened, have a contradiction, or if you want to know more about the concept of a leap of faith, is it something we just get an ideal on and run with? Or is there supposed to be real faith behind it? I'm opening up the floors right now. Moderators have probably given all of you microphones that are on Clubhouse. And those of you who are also on what we know as our Facebook channel and page, you too can ask your questions by typing it in right where you are on your actual thread for Facebook as you are on the live feed there, and IG as well. So at this time, if you got a thought or a question, please come off a mic, say your name. Moderators will put you in queue to get your thought, your question, or your comment to us. Again, remember to keep it to 30, maybe 60 seconds, and then we'll keep a fluid flow while we discuss the leap of faith. Moderators, what's our cue?
Pastor Leslie right now, sir.
Pastor Leslie, shalom.
Shalom, shalom, shalom. Let me try to make this quick. When Peter, was bid to come, it was easy for him, and this is us as well, to get out of the boat because he was a fisherman. So it was familiar. And then when he got out on the waters, he did hear the chatters. He heard the winds and the waves, and he heard what you're doing out here. You're about to sink. Those are the places that we get stuck in. When we hear God and we say, God told us to do that, we jump out there on faith. And then when we get into the meantime, and that's what happened, he was in the meantime, and that's when we begin to sink. But the interesting thing about it was when he cried out for help, they were so close that the only thing the Father had to do was reach out his hand and grab him. There's a lot of times that we are in the midst of something that Messiah has told us to do, and we get right to that breaking point, even though he had to go back to the starting point because of the lack of faith. It's right there that sometimes when that wind and that wave comes, that keeps us from crossing over to the other side where the blessing is. So, I'm going to end there because I know I only got 30 seconds, but there's just so much that's impact in that. But the fact that he stepped out on something he knew, even though it was faith, getting out of that boat was the easy part. It was following. No, I know he's in the sea and it's something different, but I believe that this is just my theory. I believe that in his mind at that time, that might not have all of that. He jumping out of that boat, I believe, was the easy part. When we step out on faith, that's the easy part. I know you're about to say something.
No, I'm listening. It's the point there that it's true. Peter is a fisherman. He knows how to get out on that water. The difficult thing though for Peter, the real pressure here is that none of the disciples wanted to get out of that boat, Pastor. That was they had to hold on to. If that boat would have broken up in those tumultuous waves and tubes, they would have had to have, it's like musical chairs. You needed to have broken pieces to get back to shore on. Something that's going to float for you, right? So nobody's leaving that boat. Nobody's getting out of that boat in this tumultuous time. And so, we know that Peter's a commercial fisherman. He's not no little, Saturday morning, sitting by the dock of the bay wasting time guy. That ain't what he does. He's out there harvesting in, halibut and redding and flounder, whatever's out there in those waters, and he's doing it commercially, holding and hoisting nets, suffering through winds, suffering through storms, so that he can get his booty, right? And then they snatch that up into the boat. So him getting out of that boat was easy for Peter, being a fisherman. We completely agree. The issue is what we're making sure, we want to make sure everybody, we're trying to make sure everybody understands in this comment, is that he doesn't ever walk on the water. The water is his problem.
And that's where the faith is. The faith is in the word.
Faith is that word.
Step out that.
Faith
right? When we step
is
out there, we
the word.
Step out there in that faith. But then it's the chatter, it's the winds and the waves that breaks us down. And make us say, well, maybe this wasn't a good idea.
So let me enhance that with you. So since we're on that pathway, the word is faith, not our feelings, not our emotions.
Right.
The word is faith. The circumstances, the situations that could consume us, faith rides above. And this is in alignment with Isaiah 58. Y'all ready to get your hold your wigs, y'all. This is Isaiah 58, verse 14. Anybody know what he says? I will cause you to ride upon the high places. So faith is the word that makes you rise above the circumstances that have the ability to bring you into demise. Faith is what he walked out on. The hard part, as Pastor is bringing up, is once you get going on faith, don't become a spectator to what you see. You must still become a participant and a practicer of that faith until the job is done. That's how you get the Father to say at the end, well done, my good and faithful servant. I like that. That rocks for me. May just be me, but it rocks. So when we realize that if we take our eyes off of the instruction, then destruction will ensue. Make that a quote. A leap of faith means that when you take your eyes off of the instruction, destruction will ensue. Keep your eyes on that word. Keep your hearing, keep this mind in you, which was also in Mashiach. And like you said, when the boisterous winds start talking to you, keep your eyes focused. When they start punching you and hitting you. I remember being in basketball practice. We were in a championship run in the state of New Jersey, and this was my high school years. And we were basically like a full throttle college team, but we were playing against other full potential college teams as well. And one of the things we had to get used to in big arenas, because when you're in a small high school arena, it's chatter, it's hype, it's fire. But when you get to that college arena where 10 and 8 and 12,000 people and 20,000 people are gathered to watch you all play, and your opposing team has 15,000 people or 10,000 people there rooting for them, and you're at that foul line and you hear them all of a sudden start screaming and shouting and chattering, you will mess up that foul shot. Because the noise will get to you. You start looking around to see who's talking, because some are threats. Some talking about your mama. Some talking about you. Some saying you can't do it. There was this thing in baseball when you were in an athletic event, and it was called baseball. I would play baseball. And in baseball, whenever the batter got up to the plate to hit the ball, possibly out of the park or drive a runner on bases home so the team could score. And the batter would be in the batter's box. And what would be done is if you were up to bat, your opposing team would give you what they call chatter. Batter can't hit, batter can't hit, batter can't hit, batter can't hit, hit that batter can't hit, swing, batter swing. And you get up there and you don't think it's a problem, but you lose focus on what you're there for. And if somebody's comment catches you before you swing on the ball you're supposed to be focused on, coming from that pitcher's plate, and someone says something that catches your attention and it throws you off just enough to miss the ball you should have hit. So what Pastor's talking about is once you start on the path of faith, don't let anything, noise around you, anything blowing upon you, anything pulling at you, keep you from being and remaining in that word, on that word of faith. Because the moment you take your eyes off of the faith, The moment you put your attention on something that's not of faith, it's going to bring you down. To the circumstances faith was supposed to bring you up, over, and out of.
So, Apostle,
yes,
back to the boat, the disciples, were they saying, "Get back here, Peter"?
I don't even know.
Going, Peter?
I'd like to think so. I don't even know. I think they were in awe, because I believe that they all encountered what Messiah did the first time they were on a boat. That's why I kept bringing the two references back up, because the first time in chapter 8, he told them to get on a boat. They did some weird, fearful stuff then. Peter got the lesson, right? Because Peter was the one who woke him up on the first trip. This trip, he like, I ain't getting in trouble. Still got in trouble, but I ain't getting in trouble this time. So I don't know if they were telling him, man, get back in the boat. They knew Peter. Peter was, of the men that were the disciples, Peter was the burly, manly man. Peter took things and made them very, very, very serious. And Peter went at them he went after them like a man went after them. So I don't know if they would have the heart to tell Peter, get back in the boat. I don't know. Maybe Andrew did. I don't know. But at the end of the day, them that are in the boat, I know for one fact, they're watching. Now, here's the interesting thing that you can bring up about that, Pastor. Care to know?
Yes, because I have something to add to that too. Go ahead.
Real quick. Here's the catch to that. Now, moderators, keep my cue too. If you got something to say, guys, a question or a thought, people, again, 30, 60 seconds we'll give you. Just say your name, come off mic, say your name while we're talking. We'll get your name. Thank you. We'll get your name, and then we'll put you in queue and bring you right in. Okay. So watch this. Here's what I would say about them on the boat, Pastor. And this is what I say to y'all, because we're technically those who would be on that boat too. You can't walk on Peter's word. You couldn't get off the boat on Peter's word. You had to ask the Messiah to give you a word and bid you come too. I think that might be too deep for today. All right, so let me go back down to Pastor. Pastor, what was you going to say, Pastor?
The interesting thing was that if you proceed and continue to see, I don't want to get this twisted.
Okay.
Peter began after that, even though that happened. That's when his ministry really took off. Even though he had to go back to the boat, even though he walked out on the water, and he went back. But after that, was when he really got the commission to go forth and be fisher of men.
Now, I'll caution that, because I don't want to put that out there the wrong way, but I know what you're talking about. I think a better way of putting that was his discernment heightened, because he doesn't start a ministry until Messiah's dead.
True.
What you're saying is accurate if we're going to utilize the vein that his discernment was quickened, because after that, he has the last thing that really, really, really helped us see how Peter's discernment was when he was asked, who do men say I am? That event happened after the last boating event. So his discernment, because Peter, what people don't realize about the character of Peter is Peter was a man's man. Peter was tired of all these Pharisees and Sadducees. He liked probably only John the Baptist, because that's who they were friends with, and following before Messiah. And then Messiah comes and his brother gets him and said, hey, come, we gotta go see this. I think this may be the person that Yochanan's been talking about. And that's how Peter got on the tip with Messiah. But he was still sort of kind of, disenchanted, as it were, with even some of the stuff that John was doing, because this manifestation hasn't happened yet. And then when he sees him, he was like lackluster with Messiah. It wasn't until Messiah did something with the fish that Peter was like, yo, wait a minute. Who is this dude? So Peter was like, he wasn't really feeling it. He believed, but he wasn't feeling it. If you ever go back and do a character study on Peter, you will understand this. He was feeling it. He wasn't really feeling it. He believed, but he wasn't feeling it. And then when he does finally give over, he's still following, but he's like, yeah, I'm here. You know, I hear what Yochanan said. Now Yochanan's dead. So that gives me more reason to follow because I want to find out, you know. And that's the mentality of Peter the entire time. Now he is doing some things. He's now given up his boat, his business. He now is with his brother. They are now following Messiah, and every day his faith is growing. But what I can say with you and join faith with you, Pastor Leslie, because that's a very good way of looking at it. Many people don't think that deeply, is that he now is at the point where his discernment of who Messiah is, who Yeshua is definitely what we say is waxing strong. Remember that passage, Pastor Leslie, when they said Messiah and he waxed strong in the spirit?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I would say that more so than his ministry to become a fisher of men, because they don't do the ministry of becoming fisher of men until Messiah is dead. They don't start ministry of being fishers of men until Shavuot. That's after his death, burial, and resurrection.
True. You're right.
Right. So I'm with you, though. I feel you on that. I would definitely say his discernment and his waxing strong in spirit. I think this took him, because the next statement Messiah asks is, who do men say I am? Like, this is later on, like days later, right? And they say, you this, you that, you other. And Peter's sitting there like, after what I done seen, that man, whatever touched me that pulled me out that water, that wasn't just a human man. I'm a man. I'm a man who will pull a barracuda out of the water on a boat that's rocking. I know strength. What happened to me as a barley 6'2", 3, 4 man with all this weight on me, wet from water, clothes wet, whatever pulled me out that water ain't natural. Y'all gonna learn today. See, we like to just read the Bible and preach. We don't like to talk about the Bible, understand the culture of the practicality of what changes a man's mind, like Peter's. Peter is like, while he's asking, who do men say I am? He's like, bruh, you know, I ain't really said nothing because I don't want nobody thinking, you know, I'm some like a wimp or something like that. But real talk, you know, thou art the Mashiach. You got to be, because only God, something of supernatural strength pulled me out of. Do y'all realize what he did? He didn't pull him out the water and put him on the boat. He pulled him out the water, y'all. I don't think you'll understand. Peter is chest deep in water with a tunic, a tallit, and whatever other garment he had on. He is one of the biggest men of the apostles. He is a burly, gentle giant, but he can be a bear. And Messiah reaches out his one arm and pulls the man out the water. See where Peter's head is physically with this? Who can do this? Nobody does this while standing in air. Peter's experience is different than them boys in the boat. Oh, y'all didn't think that? Y'all, we don't think that far into this. Yeshua is standing on air. Reaches out his hand. It doesn't say both hands. It doesn't say he kneeled down. It doesn't say he pulled Peter up on this glass plank. It says he reaches down and pulls Peter up out of the. Pastor Leslie, I don't think we're ready for that conversation yet. So when Peter is like, who does this? Who can pick me up? I'm with my brother. I punk my brother and I beat my brother up. But, you know, we are men. But I don't know if I could have done that. Thou art the Mashiach, the son of the living Elohim. Peter's understanding of who Mashiach was hit different than the boys that remained on the boat. The only one that might have been a little bit different was Yochanan, because Yochanan did something that Peter also had encountered, dealing with the physical and spiritual. He laid his head on the chest of Yeshua at dinner. And it wasn't because he was trying to make a pass at him. It was because he wanted to know what was in him. Peter's experience of knowing what was in him was when Messiah reached out his arm, a standard masculine arm, and lifted up with no problem another human being out of the water, soaking wet. Is that too deep for our thinking? Because y'all got really quiet.
No, that is so good.
I don't know what else to say to y'all. Nobody. Okay. Thank you, Pastor Leslie, for adding value. I don't know if it helped anybody, but I know it did. I'm messing with y'all. All right. Talk to me. Oh, you know what? I was told that's when I do that, I'm being arrogant. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's my personality. But you can't deny what you just heard. All right. Moderators, what's next? Angela. Anybody else after that? If not, let me know.
Callista. Well, there you go.
Angela, go. Angela, go.
Okay. Hi, Apostle.
Shalom.
Shalom. I wanted to talk about how you broke it down. Like it was so, I mean, I never heard it this way. And it was so amazing because I always felt this, but I never heard it speak to me like this. Because I always connected to, I was connected to Yeshua in a way of like, you have to really have faith in a way of understanding how this actually worked. And when you broke it down about Peter, that was my favorite scripture of when he talks about when he asked him, "My Lord, is that you? Bid me to come." And when he said, "Come." And when he began to walk towards him, his eyes stayed on him. And as long as his eyes stayed on him, he was able to walk towards him and not sink. But the moment he took his eyes up off of him, he was beginning to sink. And it was like, okay, he's sinking because his eyes is off of him. And that's how I started to understand it. Okay, he took his eyes off of him. So you got to keep your eyes stayed on him. That means whatever situation you're facing, you got to keep your eyes, your mind, and everything that you're believing and seeing and what the Most High is showing you. You have to keep your mind and your eyes and everything upon what it is you know that you can have, and they got to connect to that word.
Hey, Angela.
So,
let me ask you a question. Wasn't Peter already in a bad situation?
Yes.
It was the word that brought him out of the situation.
Yes.
Why would you take your eyes or your ears or your mind off of what was bringing you out of your circumstance?
Yes.
Boy, that makes us think, don't it? I love that, Angela. Keep going. Go ahead. You got 60 seconds. Go ahead.
Okay. So it's like, when I started to hear it, you said like that. Okay. So a lot of things in people's lives or situations, they take their mind off of what the Most High has shown them. What
the word.
Yes. Of the word. So that word, and that's what they begin to doubt. So I'm like, okay, things, even situation in my life, I can speak for my life. Okay, things that I have taken my mind off of because I'm hearing so much noise of other people words saying to me, their words became louder than his words. And it began to shift my way of thinking. And then I went from thinking about I could have these things to thinking, do I even see myself working to have it?
Right. And it don't take, Angela, a whole bunch. If you notice, Peter didn't really turn his whole body around to pay attention to the waves he was now walking on top of. His attention, I keep telling y'all, Zion, y'all remember this, make this a quote again. When it comes to Elohim's word, the only thing you got to pay is what, y'all?
Attention.
You just got to pay attention to what his word says. Peter just stopped paying attention. It wasn't like he turned his whole body around. It wasn't like he stopped and put his hand down in the water. It wasn't like he tried to put his foot down there to see if it was cold. He just took his mind off of what brought him out of that tempestuous and tumultuous scenario. And like you just said, Angela, once you take your mind off of it, you start listening to all the other noise, and you ain't even really like turned all the way around. It's just it now has taken some of your attention that must be solely and fully latched onto the word you received to bring you out. You know what it's like too, Angela, you raise a point. You might can I enhance that a little bit, Angela? That was a great point.
Yes.
Let me help y'all. Now, this is a true story. This is a very true story. This is a very, very true story. We were in Stony Point. Tony Pierce was a great guy, and in my area I lived in, Stony Point was a man-made pool. And it was a man-made lake, right, in area we lived in, and they found ways to irrigate it. And so I was working with Tony doing lifeguarding. Okay, we had this platform built of wood about the 7-foot high mark. So we had this 10-foot platform out there in the waters that were 7 foot deep, right? So you could jump off of it and not get hurt, dive off of it. You dived off one side, you went deeper. You dived off the other side, you went smaller. But you could, if you couldn't swim, you couldn't get past the ropes that led you out to the platform. So those who could swim would come out to that area. We'd all jump off. It was just a common place. Now, this one time, this guy jumps off the other side. Now, Tony Pierce, my neighbor and family, he is the lifeguard. And he sees a guy that I'm closer to. Now, I'm not a trained lifeguard. So he yells to me, "Go get him, I'm coming." And we all pay attention to it. So I see the guy out there struggling. I go to him to start swimming towards him. I'm putting him in as I'm a bootleg lifeguard. I mean, I know how to swim. So I'm putting him in a position to carry him out of the water. Tony's on his way with the booby. Okay, it's a floating device. The guy is fighting me because he's afraid. I understand it. As I'm trying to help him, I'm about to leave him. The next thing I see, Tony comes over top of me in the water. He jumps up out the water like Aquaman and bow, knocks the guy out. Otherwise, we can't save him.
Fear will do that to you, huh?
I'm sorry?
It's Roundtree. I was saying fear. The man was so scared that help was there, that his fear was still overriding the ability to
more than enough help was there to help him.
Mm-hmm.
And he could not focus on the help he asked for, because you cried, "Help me." We ran to help you. And when help came to you, you fought against the help. You didn't believe in the help, though you asked for the help, don't know how to help yourself. And the help had to knock you out so we could get you back to shore. That's what that reminded me of, Angela, when you were sharing with that. So it's like you're reaching out instead of having a full body man. What he did was, the reason he got knocked out was because the guy didn't reach. There was a little piece of twig that was floating, a limb that was floating in the waters. We were in a real lake, right? A man-made lake with real trees around it. So a limb was floating nearby. He's reaching for the thing, and you got me sitting here. Now you got me tired. I'm getting weak because I'm fighting you. By the time Tony gets there, he realizes the only way to help both people is to make one of them completely unconscious. It wasn't going to be me because I was his family, and you know, we'd have been fighting later. But he knocks it out, and we're able together to carry him back to shore, because this guy starts reaching for everything and anything around him. Listen, when what is come to save you, the word of Elohim, stop doubting it. Don't doubt it. Stay linked in with it. Do not doubt it. It's there for your good. I hope y'all guys get this. Do y'all understand more about a leap of faith? What is it? Yeah. Angela, great add to the platform. We're so glad that you were here with us today. Awesome, awesome add, Angela. Awesome. All right, who's next on queue? Callista, good day. You got 60 seconds. Go.
Okay, yeah, I just had a quick question, although I feel like Ruach kind of answered it just a few minutes ago, but I'm going to ask it anyway. So it's more just to expand on the imagery that you gave us with Peter. So I'm literally over here drawing stick figures. But I have Peter standing on the word come, and then I have Yeshua standing on the word himself, Adonai. And so I just wanted a little more imagery connecting Yeshua going to the mountain before actually walking on the water. And what had come to my mind is, okay, maybe he went to the mountain to either get maybe a fresh word from Yahweh, or maybe even to strengthen the word.
That's cute. I really think it was a test. Go ahead. I'll come with you. I'll let you travel that just a couple more seconds. Go.
Okay, but what Ruach said is he didn't go to the mountain to strengthen the word. He went to the mountain to silence the flesh so that he wouldn't be like Peter, because, you know, it's Adonai in the body of Yeshua. And so, you know, Peter drowned from taking his eyes off the word. So anyways, I just want to get more. Let
me help you with that pictorial you have. That's a very good, the stick figures, you got that from me. So clearly we are connected in the spirit, because me and the stick figures are a real thing. First off, yeah, you've seen, right? But they've gotten better. My stick figures are better. All right, here's the catch. Messiah doesn't go up in the mountain because he needs a word. This isn't the Mount of Gethsemane. This isn't the Garden of Gethsemane. This isn't the mount before his faith is tested. His faith isn't tested here. Watch this. Remember when I kept telling y'all that the first time he told him to go to the boat? Now this is the second time he tells him to go to the boat. I honestly believe, and another Messianic rabbi might believe, that going to the mountain was to look over the sea to see how they were responding to the instructions that he had given. See, that's what a real teacher will do. That's what a real rabbi will do. They'll give you instructions and then watch you carry it out and help you in the process. So when he saw them, that's right, Beverly. Wow, that's right. When he saw them struggling, he wasn't, and this is why I really despise a lot of stuff that we do within this intercessory process. All my intercessor warriors, we gonna pray in the fourth watch of the night. Stop. That ain't got nothing to do with being spiritual. Please stop. It makes us look weird. Messiah wasn't up there in the fourth watch of the night praying. He sent the people home that were in ministry. And for whatever reason he was there, it's not some extra special time that you pray. The greatest and the most special time you can pray to Yahweh is in your Shabbat. And you pray without ceasing. You always remind yourself of the word. So when he is up in that mount, he's looking over the waters that they are now on. And he sees their struggle. He's watching the wind push them back, but he's watching them fight through. He's watching the wind make them reel back a little bit further every time they start to flow, and they reel back with the ebb of the waves, and he's just watching it. And then he gets on the water and comes toward them. But they freak out again. Oh, spirit, a ghost. Oh, Leviathan spirit. Oh, a python spirit. Oh, a Leviathan from the waters. Oh, my God, and we can't get over. God help us. You know, they do. That's just me being funny. That's me being funny, y'all. That's not in the scriptures. It's not in the Bible. Yeah. So when you understand these things, you want to put yourselves in a position to see what it is that really is going on in that moment. He's not up in the mountain because he's up there trying to get a fresh word from Elohim. He's the living word. It's oozing out of him. The only time Messiah ever had to go get a word beyond the word inside of him was when he did not feel he should die at this time for these people he came to save, and they called him everything but the child of Elohim that he was. That's the only time he needed to get a fresh word. He is the living word. It's just in him. It ain't going nowhere. But I do believe, as myself and another, like I say, another messianic rabbi, I won't say his name because he loves me, but he likes to be low key. And I love him, how we love each other. But he was like, it's like he was up there watching over. And when you understand this from the Hebrew perspective, and he put the lexicon, he says he went in, watch this, because the fourth watch of the night is really when you watch over the land, and you're more protective in that hour because everybody should be asleep. So the concept here is that when he went, and they call it the fourth watch, it's the watch where you are protecting what you possess. As a shepherd, you're protecting what you have, because it's the area where you're most vulnerable. So he's watching over his flock, his talmudim, as they're carrying out instruction. Does that help a little bit?
Yeah, and that's so good. And it reminds me of actually what you said a few weeks ago with the story of how the disciples couldn't cast out the evil spirits from that boy. And then Yeshua says, this type of spirit can only come out
good connection
from prayer and fasting. But he didn't, like you said, he didn't go pray and fast before he did it. He was already doing that in Shabbat. So that helps. Yeah, that brings it all together.
Great.
So thank you.
And you keep practicing with them stick figures. You're gonna be under the right anointment. You under the right anointment with that. The stick fingers reunite. Stick figures reunite. All right, we got a moderator's queue. What we got next? Who's next on queue, mod?
There's no one after Calista, sir.
I thought I saw someone raise their hand.
Jordan Grace.
Hey, Jordan Grace.
Okay, great.
Delois. Delois. Delois.
No, Apostle. I don't have a question.
Oh, I'm bummed out now. I thought you had something to ask. Go ahead. Go get back on mute then.
You can hear better when you come to the stage. You don't know that?
Whoa.
Yeah. The volume, it's hard to increase the volume when you're not on stage, but when you're on stage, that's when you can actually click those three dots and adjust the audio.
Listen here. If the Lord ain't never used, listen, if he ain't never used you right there, do you know what I just got? 4 messages from that? Y'all, I just got 4 revelations right there from that. You hear better on stage. Oh my Elohim. That's so deep. Yeah, look, everybody coming up on stage now. Love it.
And growing up, I like to sit in front of the church. I gotta be close to the fire.
Hey,
I don't ever like to sit in the back of the church.
Listen, after me, when I was a child, and once I raised up the next drummer behind me, I could not stand being away from the pulpit. I gotta sit in the front row. I can't second row. It was because I needed to hear what was being said. The back row was too much drama. Hey, Cookie, how you doing today? Shalom to you. She came right up on. I guess it's true. You hear better on stage. Cookie, how you doing?
And there's too many distractions, because if you're in the back, you see everything that's in front of you.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
And so there's too many distractions when you're in the back.
You see,
in the front,
you see who's putting the gum. You see who's putting the gum under the pew. You see who just got smacked in the forehead for sleeping. You see who's gossiping. You see who's scratching, trying to reach for their bra strap because it's irritating their back, and all that stuff takes your visual from what's going on in the pulpit. Y'all, that was like too much detail, wasn't it? Because I really experienced that stuff. Yeah. You will be surprised at who's doing what, who's passing notes. You see everything but the word.
That's good right there.
Yeah, I promise you, we're going to preach. Matter of fact, we're going to have a preceding word. Somebody remind me, moderator remind me, we're going to have a preceding word on the 4 revelations I just got from that one statement. See how quick that happens? That you hear better. You hear better on the platform. You hear better when you got a microphone. Listen, preachers, pastors, evangelists, all of you who open and are influencers, hear me clearly. You hear better other people when you yourself have a microphone. I am extremely in tune that when I'm with some other platform, because I have platforms, I'm always listening for what just regular bystanders and wallflowers will miss. You hear better when you on platform. That's it. Y'all put that on cue. I got to come back and do a whole new teaching on that. Thank you, Dolores. I might bring you and Pastor Cook. I might bring you and Cookie Gamble up to help me do that. I think we should share that project. Y'all want to do that, Cookie and Dolores?
Sure. I got you. I was about to say, this is my friend, Prophetess Cookie. She has the voice of an angel, literally.
I know. I've heard her in several rooms, and I enjoy it. Matter of fact, sometimes once I'll be ready to lead a room, and then she'd be like, "Well, we're gonna have Prophetess Cookie sing." I'm like, "Oh, stop, pause, don't go nowhere." Then I leave quietly after the song. So yes, and she got a word in her too. So it'd be my joy to do that. Cookie, you got anything you want to share with us right now? I got you, Brother Grice. I'm coming to you.
No, sir. I'm just enjoying this dialogue. I thank you so much for just the time that you put in with everybody. And I can hear the growth in everyone else. So I'm grateful for you. God bless.
Yahweh be praised, and thank you for the gift that is you. And that is a voice, y'all. I promise you, if you ever hear or get a chance to hear her in another room singing or wherever she's doing what she do, please listen, tune in. And it's not like this, just this clanging symbolism and these it's rich. Appreciate you and your gift. All right, everybody. Brother Jordan Grice, you had a question or a thought for us. Who else is on mod? When we get, if you got a statement or comment you want to make, please feel free to come off a mic, say your name, and we'll get right to you. Brother Grice, what you got, my brother?
Hello. I just thought about whenever Peter was on the water, and Yahshua was standing on top of the water, and you were talking about the word. I thought about it from a human perspective, and it's like there's no way that you can stand on top of water and try to pull somebody.
Thank you. You get it. Thank you. I knew another man will get it. These ladies is like, well, I don't know what you talking about, but I'm just ladies. I'm just playing. It's Mother's Day. It's after Mother's Day joke. Okay, don't come for me. Don't do it. I'm just playing with y'all. But Grace, talk about that. You're a man. You're an athlete. The viewpoint of what Messiah did to Kepha was amazing. He is standing on air. Peter's got to be, I dare say, but Peter, from what we understand in the scriptures and the records that we have of him, is like 6'2", 6'4", somewhere like that. And I'm 6'2", I'm 230, and I'm healthy. Peter ain't no, Peter, there's no record where Peter is not known as anything other than a burly man. So I'm looking 250 maybe. Even at 200 pounds, another man 6'2". Brother Grice, I don't think I can pull you out the water with one hand, man, standing on a twig.
And then you got to think about it, his clothes is probably wet from the journey.
Soaking wet.
So that adds another, and then there's nothing to push off of, it's water. A regular person would have been in the water with him as well, because you don't have anything to push force off of. It's not like he was standing on a dock or something.
He's not on some rock. He's not on some ledge. He's not on some platform, because like I told you, when my swimming experience with that one guy that we had to knock out, it was tough for me to try and get under him and then push him up. Now, if he'd have stayed up and just let his body go limp and let me propel him, I could have stayed above water chest high with him on my back. My leg and my kick were strong enough to do that. But I'm sitting here right now. You got me going back into it. I'm thinking, I know how difficult it was. And that guy, he was a teenager. Maybe he was about 16 years old. I gave him maybe $150. Okay. And I'm an athlete. I'm a baller. Right. And at that time, I'm what I am. I'm still 6'2" at that time. And I'm pulling, I'm dragging him, but he is fighting and pushing and swinging and kicking until we knocked him out. We could not really pull him out of the water. And even while we traveled maybe about good 20 feet to get to the dock in the water, and maybe 20, 30 feet in the water, trying to get to the dock to get him up on the dock. And then we had to push from underneath. I had to go underwater and then propel my feet upwards to come back through the water's surface, or the surface of the water, to push his body up. I had to use buoyancy. We had to use buoyancy to get him up on top of the dock, like to slingshot him up. So, that's a real task. I'm glad you brought that up, Brother Grice. Go ahead, man. Yeah, that was a good point.
Yeah, one thing I was going to say is there had to be some supernatural stuff, because it's not, physics won't allow it to happen.
Yeah, that's right. Physics won't. And I think Minister Phillips is helping you on Facebook. She's like, look, dead weight is heavy. And then when you got active weight fighting and contriving with you because of its fear, that's even worse. So that's a real thing, man. Great point, guy. All right, everybody. So anybody else got any comments you might want to make or share before we get out of here? We're about to move on. Okay, we got dead air. So Leon Jones, good to have you with us, and thank you for that compliment, my dear brother. We're so glad you're here. Listen, I want you guys to understand a leap of faith. Listen, here's the catch. Don't walk away from anything without this. Romans 10:17. Faith comes by what? Hearing. Hearing comes by the word of Elohim. Watch. Without faith, it is impossible to please Elohim. So when you tell me I'm taking a leap of faith, I don't want you to do that because you have an aspiration to get a mortgage, and then somebody says, I'm going to give you a mortgage, and you're like, I took that leap of faith. That's not a leap of faith. That's something different. Don't think that what you have in your mind fathomed to do is faith. What you want to do, your aspirations, Yahweh wants you to have them. Your visions and dreams, prayerfully, he's the one giving them to you. But to vet that, you have to filter it always through his word. Now, when you move, having vetted it through the word on that thing, now you're not even leaping on faith. You're just walking faith out. But in Peter's case, he asked, if it be you, Adonai, bid me come. Messiah gave him exactly what he asked for. He said, come. And Peter walked on the word, come, not on the water. Come was laying over the water. But the moment Peter stopped paying attention to the word come, he became susceptible to the waters that come was over. As Angela said, don't let noise and wind take your attention. Pay attention to his words. Father, we thank you for the time we've given us to share today. This is the proceeding word. Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of Yahweh, who is our Elohim. We thank you for faith. Who is man that you are mindful of us? Who is man that you would visit us? We honor you for your care about us. I pray you now. Be with these, your people. Help us to walk in practicality of your word so that the success and the efficacy of salvation can manifest through us, and others will see our good works, glorifying you, our Father in heaven, and then they ask, what must we do to be saved? Father, give us the right approach, give us the right response, and prayerfully give us the proper and appropriate and worthy destination. Well done. This I pray you now. Let these works of this ministry and the words of its mouth and the meditations of its heart be acceptable in your sight, Yahweh. You are our strength. You are our Redeemer, and we desire the proceeding word. Now may Yahweh bless you all and keep you. May Yahweh make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May Yahweh lift his countenance upon you and grant you all 13 attributes of his shalom. All right, we'll see you again. Thank you for tuning in today. I hope that this message has been a blessing to your very life and your soul, and more importantly, your walk with the King. Well, we have come to the end. I hope that you would consider becoming either a partner with us in ministry, or if you're not already a kingdom citizen, consider becoming one. By doing that, you can sow into this ministry so that we are able to continue to teach this type of ministry at a grand scale. Join us on all of our social media platforms and visit our webpage to make your contributions sure. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Shalom Aleichem.